Hey everybody, good night, good night. What's poppin'? And welcome to tonight's live. Tonight we're going to be doing something really beautiful. So I picked out a sunset with some palm trees and we're going to get started in a minute here. I'm going to wait for some of you guys to come in. If you guys are new around here, my name is Danielle. I'm the artist behind Creative Girl of Color. And welcome back to my channel. If you like this sort of content, be sure to subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell for all notifications. Everything I'm going to be using is down in the description box below, as well as social media, tips, tricks. I'm going to try to look and see, I'm going to try to answer you guys' questions as best I can as the live progresses. And let's get started. So let me see. Kind of trying to log in a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. Because I kind of lost the like fluffy thing that goes to my microphone. So it's like really weird. Oh my God. Okay, but it's looking pretty good from my angle. So hopefully you guys over there are able to see me as well. So I'm going to be looking at the chat, seeing what's going on. Hopefully you can hear me, see me, and all of that stuff. Actually got this picture from this reference photo from pixabay.com, which I also linked that down below. I thought it was a really pretty sunset. It's going to be a lot of, and like, believe it or not, we're actually not going to be using any blue today. Because usually I use a lot of blue when I'm doing tutorials. So we actually are not going to be using any of that tonight. Let me check my mic, make sure everything is good. Okay, so that seems to be good. Hopefully you guys didn't get any feedback from that. Okay, now, also, like, what's really going to be fun is that I'm going to be using something new tonight. I picked this up from my local Michaels. I didn't actually link this down below, so I will link it after this live is over. If you guys need help with color theory and all of that jazz, I will also link that up in the iCard when the live is over. But I picked this up from my local Michaels, and it is super dope. It is let me show you guys. It's actually a 8x11. It's an 8x11 kind of like wood panel, wood board. I think will be really interesting to kind of paint on this tonight. And actually, after I finish painting this, I'm going to post this on all my social media links, and I'm going to actually put it on my website. If you guys want to be able to get this for yourselves, wouldn't it be dope to have a tutorial that you actually watch me do in your home? It is an 8x11. It is so pretty, right? And most people don't know that you can actually paint on a wood panel and any type of wood surface, but I would recommend, I actually put like a primer. I use some Liquitex acrylic gesso and just some white regular gesso that I used on this. And this is basically what I did. I hit it with 1 or 2 coats just to prime my surface, because when you're dealing with paint, especially if you're going to be using oil paint, if you use oil paint, it's good to use an acrylic gesso or some type of acrylic primer before you start painting on the wood. So that's my pro tip for today, you guys. Okay, so now let's get started. I'm using a myriad of all of these different brushes. I'm going to put that to the side. I am also using different acrylic paints. You can use any acrylic paint that you want to use. Utilize whatever you have in your art kit at home, including but not limited to craft paint, house paint, whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm using artist colors. I'm using golden acrylics. I'm going to be using Quin Magenta. I can't even talk. Quin Magenta, yellow ochre. I'm going to be using, so you want to whip out all of your yellows and reds, you guys, all of your oranges. And of course, you can utilize a little bit of black for this particular tutorial. Oh, also, if you guys happen to attempt this tutorial, hit me up on Instagram with the hashtag Creative Girls of Color, girls with an S. And I will definitely post you up in my stories if I'm loving your rendition of this. I would love to see what you guys do in your style. Okay, so I'm going to be using some different yellows and different oranges and all of that stuff. I don't know if I'm actually going to be using my yellow ochre today. That I don't know. I don't think I'm going to need that. Because yellow ochre, if you don't know, is a cool yellow. Let's see, what are we at right now, you guys? We are actually we are at the 6-minute mark. So hopefully this will not be a long thing. We want to do something really quick, you guys, just to give you something beautiful that you can actually hang on your walls in your house, right? Hopefully you guys are doing well. So I put out Quin Magenta. I'm going to put out, actually, I'm actually going to use some gold also for this particular tutorial. My go-to Liquitex Basics gold. I actually love their gold color. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I would definitely recommend that you guys utilize that if you want to. Let me just make sure you guys are not saying anything in the comments. So I'm going to put out some yellow. As you know, I didn't put none out in the beginning because it is acrylic and that stuff just wants to dry literally while it's on the palette. Like, its whole life is about drying while it's on the palette. Yeah, that's all it wants to do pretty much. Okay, and I'm actually going to use some, let me see. I don't know what I did with it now. That's crazy town. Crazy. I wanted to use some glazing liquid, but I don't know what happened to it. It has disappeared into thin air, you guys. It has disappeared. So I have no clue what even happened to it. Does anybody see my acrylic glazing liquid over there? Anybody see it? If you guys don't know what acrylic glazing liquid is a beautiful kind of medium you can use to add to your paint to slow down the drying time, and it's good for glazing and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for at this point, and I can't find it anywhere. I don't know what happened to it. And I just had it in my hand. Alrighty then. I guess we ain't having it tonight, huh? Alright, now, if I look at my reference photo, right? If I look at my reference photo, we're going to look at where our horizon line is. If you guys are not familiar with my tutorials, I usually talk about the horizon line, and the horizon line is pretty much where the sky meets the land, and in this case, the sky meets the water. Now, where your sun is basically where your horizon line should be. And if we look at it, it's going to be going probably almost halfway down your page. You don't necessarily have to use this wood because a lot of people may not even have this wood piece at home. If you're using a regular canvas, it would go halfway down your page, you guys. You wouldn't even have to worry about that. As long as you get that halfway point, almost halfway, that's where your horizon line is going to be. I also talk about utilizing tape if you want to get your horizon line, right? So let's put some tape down before we actually start painting so that I don't lose my horizon line. All right, so we're about halfway down here. Almost halfway down. And if I look about halfway down from the top, I'm going to go about right here. And I'm going to keep my horizon about right there, right? So if I keep my horizon about right there, about halfway down the paper, you guys. And this is, I always utilize tape, especially, and this is a great tool for you newbies out there if you want to get a straight line. If you're doing a horizon line, because the horizon line needs to be straight up and down, straight across. And you don't want it to be like a wobbly type of thing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah? So it's a good way to kind of get your... It's a really, really, really great way to get your halfway point so you know where things end and begin. And you want to burnish your tape across so that it's nice and tight, right? For the sun, now, you can do it multiple ways. You can scumble it on, or you can use this. In this case, we have a large... This is an exaggerated sun, so... You know, the sun wouldn't normally be that large, but, you know, this is going to be something pretty that we're going to stylize. So your sun will be right in the middle. So I would put, you can use any template. Get a round cap, a round bowl, something small to indicate where your sun is going to be, and your sun will be right here at the horizon. But I'm not going to actually put that in now. I'm going to put in my sky first. Then we're going to work on, then we will work on the sun. All right, let me show you guys again, because we're almost about halfway down, right? And you actually can't even see the horizon too well with this, but you know it's there because you see that dark strip right about here. That dark strip is telling you, okay, that's where my horizon is, right? So we have all of this orange and yellows right here at the top. I just wanted to give you guys another look at this, so in case you're doing it at home. But of course, you can look this up on pixabay.com. And let me put my reference photo up so I know what's going on, yeah? So I know what's happening. Okay, so now let me get my brush wet. I'm using a number 10 kind of like flat brush. And I thought I had my glazing liquid. I don't know why I keep looking for that. Why do I keep looking for that glazing liquid? I don't know, but I need it. Like, I need it. So, I thought I had everything prepared. It always happens like that, right? You think you're all prepared for something, and then, bam, something else occurs. All right. Oh, I also need to put out some white, you guys. So, some regular titanium whites. Because you also need to have that white in there, because white and yellow kind of go together, you guys, yeah? You can't have one without the other. Now this wood, if you happen to want to use this wood panel, it absorbs a lot of paint, okay? So since it absorbs so much paint, you want to go ahead and utilize a lot of layers when you're dealing with this, so that you don't see the wood through it, and also that so it's not eating up all of your paint at one time. And this is like really cute if you are want to decorate your house in a different way. You can use these wood panels and you can just paint right on them. They're like super cute. Okay? All right. So So we have a lot of orange here. My favorite combination of orange, you guys, right, is, most people think it's red and yellow, which it is, right? You can add any red. This is cadmium yellow. Cadmium yellow deep hue. Hue meaning that it's not the natural cadmium yellow color, because cadmium yellow is hazardous, you guys. So most paint companies do not make cadmium yellow, regular cadmium yellow, even though you can buy it, but, this is a good alternative. Cadmium yellow hue and quinacridone magenta. Those are my favorite combinations for making a orangey type of red, okay? That's my favorite combo for making an orangey red. And this is quinacridone fluid golden, right? And you see it's like a pink, rich, beautiful color. It's a gorgeous color. I'm going to get a little bit of yellow. You don't need a lot of yellow, right? And actually, you know what? I'm going to get... And see, that's going to give me my orange. You see how that's giving me orange right there? That's giving me life. And you want to put like different variations of the orangey yellow. That's giving you that warm, beautiful glow. You can see it already in your mind, right, you guys? That's going to give you your orangey, beautiful glow with that cadmium yellow and a little bit of quinacridone magenta. Because this quinacridone magenta is an artist color, it's very potent. You don't really need a lot of it. You're going to need more yellow than you would need quinacridone magenta. So that's pretty right there. I'm going to get another value and just put it over here, right? Because I want two different values of that orangey kind of red. So we'll put that there. And I'm going to get a little bit of white. Because remember, white yellow go together. Because yellow and reds are very transparent. So you always want to add a little bit of white to it. I'm going to add a little bit over here too. And still keep my color the way I want to keep it. You can always add, the more quinacridone you add, the redder it will become. The more yellow you add, the more yellow it will become. Okay. Now we have a lot of red here. Let me kind of lift this up a little bit because I want to get some of that glare off of there, you guys. And hopefully you can see it well. Okay. So... And I'm going like in a sweeping motion. Even though we have quite a lot of red in there, I'm actually going to wipe some of this off of my brush. Because that's not enough of a red for me. So I'm just adding some more quinacridone. And you see how it'll get even more orange if you do that, yeah? You see that? That's a beautiful thing right there. You get that red glow. It's really pretty. And I'm just going in different directions to give me... But you want to leave a little room down here at your horizon for your sun. Right? And let me wash off my brush. Because I feel like I need... If your brush starts to drag, you want to work quickly in this section. If your brush starts to drag, you want to go ahead and get a little bit of water and kind of blend things out. Now I'm going to get some of that yellow because I'm going right down here. You see, you guys? And you want to bring that right up in here. See that yellow? Hopefully you guys are seeing it well. Nice and yellow. I'm grabbing a little more yellow and white because I need that to be about here. And you see I still have my tape, right? And this will be our sun. And then we have a little bit here. Put a little bit of yellow here. Remember, you can always glaze things back. Never feel like you can't. Because we have a little bit. You can always glaze things back. Put a little bit of quinacridone in there if you feel like you have too much yellow. You can always glaze things back because this is acrylics. Now I'm going to go in with the red. See? Quinacridone, which is a pink. Let's put a little of that quinacridone at the bottom. See, and that's giving me my... See, that's a beautiful transition already, you guys. It's a beautiful transition already. See how easy we made that yellowish, kind of orangey red? It's absolutely gorgeous. Actually, Quinacridone Magenta is one of my favorite colors, but besides doing the blues and all of that stuff, because I do a lot of paintings that require a lot of blues and all of that, but Quinacridone Magenta is actually one of my favorite colors. I'm going to get my blender brush. You know, my favorite, you guys. And I'm going to kind of go in. And I'm going to blend this stuff out. But I'm still going in this, like, sun type of motion. Now, remember, this is just the first layer. You're going to have to go back in. You guys, you're going to have to go back in. And add another layer at another time. But we have that sun motion right there. Plus, it's a very smooth thing. This is actually a beautiful surface to work on rather than, you know, the canvas. Because the canvas sometimes give that gritty type of surface type of thing. All right, now I'm going to take off the tape. We can always put it back on if we need to. Because I actually, and see how I get that beautiful kind of horizon line, you guys? I'm taking off the tape. I'm going to put it off to the side. And you see how I get that beautiful kind of like horizon line? That gave me a good cutoff. Because we also have to put some palm trees in here. So we got to be careful of how we're setting this up. I'm going to take my blender brush and I'm going to smooth this out. Right? Because we don't want any hard lines. So I'm going to smooth this out. Because it's kind of dried in. But this blender brush is great at smoothing things out. And look how beautiful that is. Because I smoothed it out. And actually, the great thing about that is I was actually able to make a horizon line. Right? Now, the higher up you do your sky, the further things will be away, right? And look at that. That looks gorgeous already. It's looking kind of gorgeous already. If you want to reinforce that line, you can always go in with a little bit of, let me put my brush in the container. You can always go in with a little quinacridone. I'm going to mix it a little bit. If you want to reinforce that horizon line. See, you go in. Because it has like a right here, right? With that bright yellow sun, and you want to do this lightly because you want to stay on that same line. With that bright yellow sun, you want a contrast. Like I always say, where there's a dark, there's a light. Right, you guys? Where there's a dark, there's a light, baby. And I see I'm going to add a little bit up here. And I got like some hair or something in my, just tapping kind of to get that, seem like part of the, what's the name showing it. And you see how you get like a lot of a red type of thing here. So now let me give you guys a close-up, you know. All right, now remember, hopefully you guys know what happens in the water. I'm going to switch over to woo. I'm dropping brushes. I don't know what's going on. The brush is down. The brush is down. So hopefully you guys know that water is reflective, right? So it's going to reflect what's around it, right? That's why water looks different depending on what's in the sky, because it's going to reflect what's in the sky. It's going to reflect whether there's buildings around, boats around, whatever. So since we have a reddish, kind of orangey, whatever type of sky, we're going to do the same thing down here in the water, where we already have our reddish horizon line, but we need to still have a little bit of an orangey type of glow here in the water, but we don't want it to be as bright. Now, if hopefully you guys know how to desaturate orange, because if not, I will link that up again into the iCard. We need to have this same reflection here, right? And we want to go in this, I'm going to go in this motion. I'm going to sweep. I'm using my little filbert brush. And I'm still going to go in this little sun motion, right? Because we got to have the same sun that's in the water, you guys. In the water. Right? Now, normally, it would be smaller, right? Your reflection will be smaller. And I'm going to bring it right on down here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it down into here. And we could always add highlights later. We're just getting that base coat in. Right? But you still want to have that orangey haze right there. I'm getting into a little bit of a lighter yellow. That's white and cadmium yellow. Yeah? And you see, I'm going to have a little bit kind of bouncing in between here. Yeah? Now is when I'm going to get back into my quinacridone to reflect the same things that's going on in the water. We want the same thing. Kind of going on in the water. Now, right here at the ends is where we're going to have, and I'm doing like a sweeping motion with my filbert. Right there is where we're going to have the reddish glow, right? We have the reddish glow. And I want a different shade of like orangey tone. So I'm going to put that here. Right in the middle. And that's going to go here. Okay. So we got, as you can see, we have 3 different tones of reds and orange. We have our reddish quinacridone magenta. A little bit of yellow. We have another value of orange. And then we have our brightest orange in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing kind of over here. Because this still has a little bit of yellow in it. I'm going to let it flow a little bit into my sun, right? Because, again, things are reflecting. We want it to look like, oh, this is waves. This is a lot going on. This is other activities happening. So let's kind of do that, right? So we kind of got that in the middle. Same thing here, right? And I'm adding kind of more yellow because I want this to be an orangey yellow. It needs to be a different value because you want to have some hints of orange going in there. Some hints of orange in there, peeps. And remember, with acrylics, things always look ugly before they look good. And that's with painting, period. It doesn't matter whether you're using acrylics or not. I kind of wiped off my brush. Now the ends are going to be strictly mostly Quin Magenta with a hint of yellow. So that's this right here. And that's kind of a little bit too red. So let me add a little bit of this. And I'm making kind of like a jagged, you know, thing here. I'm doing it at this angle, you guys, because yeah, I'm doing it at this angle because I want you guys to be able to see it, and I need to go a little bit darker. If you want to go darker, you could always use, because the complement for red is green, or you can use purple, which will give you a darker tone of these different colors. I'm actually going to put out some, let me put it out. I'm actually going to put out some blah, 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 blah. And we have like a little island right here too, you guys. It's a little island right there. Now right here, I'm going to just do this in a quick red. But I'm going to put out, because I want some darker tones in here, I'm going to put out some burnt umber. This time I was actually able to get it open. And the burnt umber, I could actually add a little bit of burnt umber into my quinacridone, and that will give me a little bit of a darker tone. Let me show you here on camera. That will actually give me a darker tone. Alright. I added a little bit of burnt umber, and that gave me a darker red. And I'm going to put a little bit of that here on the ends. I'm just kind of streaking that in because I want to give it, like, you got to have shadow. Like your stuff still has to have some sort of shadow. It can't just be like straight up the color. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, right? And I'm gonna put a little bit darker going down here. And I'm going to get some water because I don't have my glazing liquid. And I'm going to tear up my brush if I don't have something. And I'm going to get a little bit of yellow straight out. And the yellow will give me what I want. Because this part, and I'm just going to a sweeping motion. You want to keep these same kind of horizontal type of strokes. Because you want to signify where things are going. Which way things are going. You know what I'm saying? You want to signify which way things are going. And this is a there you go. Now this part right here, it doesn't really matter. I'm not really worrying about how this part looks because you can actually take some, I'm smoothing out my lines because I want kind of to be straight at least a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter, like I was saying, towards the foreground what things look like because we're going to cover that up. We just want to get something down. We're going to cover that up with some ground because we have some ground here, you guys. See? We have some ground here, so we need to cover that up. So it doesn't matter whether things are covered up or not. And I'm actually going to put it in now. I'm using just straight up burnt umber. If you don't know what that is, that's a dark brown. Straight up burnt umber, you guys. Because the island is where our palm trees are going. Right? And let me go here. Now you can use black for this too. If you don't have burnt umber, you can use black or you could do a chromatic black, right? You guys, you could do a chromatic black. And I'm actually going to take this value up a notch. I'm going to take it up here. Good. And I'm going over. Going over this way, so hopefully you can see it. Like I was saying, it doesn't really matter what you use for down here. You can use a chromatic black. You could use and a chromatic black is just blue and burnt umber, blue and okay, so as you can see, I put my kind of like my little thing down, you guys. Blue and but in this case, it might be cool for you to actually use black for this because that way it'll give you a stark contrast, you guys. Like that would be really stark contrast if you use the black. And you could actually do this with a palette knife also, but you don't want it to be too pronounced because what we need to pay attention to in this particular, what you need to pay attention to in this particular composition is you want to pay attention to the sun, right? And you want to pay attention, this is still dry. This is dry at this point, so we think we're good. You want to pay attention to the sun, and you want to pay attention to the palm trees. So I wouldn't worry about whether whether your island is looking particularly good or not. You know what I'm saying? You could in this case you can kind of get away with stuff and keep it moving. Okay. Okay. I think I got carried away with this island. I think I got carried away. But why the island looks like that is because the sun, this is a bright sunset, a beautiful sunset, hitting the land, hitting the sun. So things are going to be looking a lot more dark than it normally would, like in the daytime or something like that. Now I'm going to take my brush because I kind of want to smooth out. I want to smooth out. I'm still going in. I'm smoothing things out. Because I feel like things need to be smoothed out. Even though my horizon line is there, I don't want my horizon line to be like blaring. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm smoothing out these edges here. This is just a damp, clean brush. Going in and smoothing these edges out so I don't have this whole thing going. Okay, now this is a good time you can dry it if you want to, but in this case I'm not because it's literally kind of drying while it's on here. And I'm going to add another layer of the red with the quinacridone, the same mixture, you guys. It's nothing different. Same mixture. Here. This is going to be a little orange. But I'm mixing more quinacridone and to give me, and I'm kind of sweeping this in. Doing the same thing here. Because this is supposed to be really kind of dark. But you can do whatever way you want, you know? It doesn't necessarily have to be. And I'm going to go down into a sweeping motion. I like the dramatics of this. Now is when I'm going to get in, because you want to have that different values of oranges and reds. So now I'm going to go one value up and get me some orange. right? Because remember what I always say, where there's a dark, there's a light. And dramatic, dark, and light is something really beautiful. I ran out of yellow, so I'm going to put out some more yellow. And I ran out of quinacridone. But, oh, if you guys don't have quinacridone at home, you can also use red. Like, this is just my preferred thing that I like to work with. Now I'm getting over here. I am mixing. I'm actually mixing some things together. Uh-oh. I don't know what happened. It's weird. Something occurred. I think we're stuck here. What happened? What happened?
What, are you done?
No. What happened to it?
You stopped recording.
Oh, no. It always does this. It always does this. What happened to it?
I don't know. Did something freeze or whatever?
No, because it looked like it's still... I think they can still hear me, too.
Yeah, I can still hear you, but I can't see you.
All right, guys. I don't know what happened. So let me take it off. I'm not sure what happened.
So if you press the X, what happens then?
It's going to end it. It is going to end it. What is it doing now? All right. I don't know what just happened. Okay, guys. Oh, I'm going to log off and come back in. So hopefully you guys check in again. Because it seemed like we froze.